Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Roulette, where we take a look at randomly chosen games from the Game Boy library.
Rats! Wow, no need to shout at me. Game Boy Roulette was on a short hiatus while I had a wildly busy summer, and I cannot be happier to see that we're returning with a game I do not know a thing about. So we'll start with the developer, Tarantula Studios. They were a relatively small developer in the UK, founded by Steve Marsden and David Cook, which began as a developer of handheld games and ports. But things changed when they got their biggest task yet, bringing the PS1 game Grand Theft Auto to the Game Boy Color. They actually did a pretty good job too, as we saw when we reviewed the game. But in 2001, the company split into two sections, development and quality assurance. And while the development branch quietly shut down, the QA department was acquired by Rockstar and continues to this day, offering testing and localization for games like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. Not a bad result for the team behind Montezuma's Return. But there's something else about this game that interests me, the title. In America, it's called Rats, but everywhere else it was released it had a different name, Reservoir Rat. Yeah, the game was originally designed as a reference to the classic Reservoir Dogs. I can't find any information as to why the name was changed, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Quentin Tarantino's lawyers were involved. More on that in a bit, but honestly, that's about the extent of the information I could find of the game's backstory, which means maybe it's a hidden gem, or maybe it deserved to be forgotten. Could go either way, really. But we need to talk about the box art, because while the title is Rats, the actual rat is clearly inspired by the Reservoir Dogs' iconic design. That's all well and good until you look at the UK version of the game, where they changed the name to Reservoir Rat, but also made the rat no longer look like a reservoir dog. You'd think the name and outfit would be matching ones, but whatever. Copyright law is baffling to me. But enough of the box, how does the game play? Let's gnaw a little on Rats. You know a game is big league when it immediately starts with a language selection. Oh, Take-Two is involved, huh? Oh, Rats, created by Tarantula Studios. I know, I just talked about that, remember? Rats! Look at that cool rat. Wait, where's the... Oh, they didn't change him so he looked like a reservoir rat. I don't even know what this might be. Let's do it. Oh, I was hoping for an actual real bullet. Alright, what do we got? Pew. Okay, watch out for the falling axe. Okay. It's a slow platformer. This really looks like something I should be able to jump on. Oh, okay. One hit. Oh no, one hit catastrophically injures our rat. I love unique game over screens. Shoot snails for fun and profit. Now what's the goal? Is just to collect sweets? I can move around and jump, which puts it well above most other platformers I've played on the Game Boy. What does this know? Oh, that stops the enemies. It's very arcadey. Whoops. That wolf came out of an egg, just like in real life. Yeah, it's reminding me more of a throwback to like old arcade platformers. Very basic platforming layout, a lot of verticality in mind. Nothing wrong with that. I just noticed something that's very worrying, though. That... Oh, is that a time limit at the bottom? What? How do I... Hey. How do I actually leave? Oh, maybe I have to collect everything? And there's something down here, isn't there? Ah! Bottom left just turned into a open door. I love... What? Oh, God. No, stay away. Oh! When the time limit runs out, the devil attacks you. Again, another very arcade platformer kind of thing. Yeah. So far, it's nothing, like, truly amazing. What it is just a solid platformer. Oh, that's what that power-up did. I'm sorry, I can't look at that without laughing. Okay, so that egg turns enemies into eggs, but then they hatch into new enemies. Oh, hey, a bottomless pit that's actually labeled. I like that. On the negative side, this game is kinda... It's getting dull very quickly. Not terribly dull, not enough to completely ruin the game, but enough where I'm like, okay, I hope there's some variety soon. What I might do is, because this is a Game Boy Color game, I think we'll probably pretty soon switch over to the color version, see how that looks, and I'll also take a couple minutes to look up any other info I can find about the actual gameplay, see if there's variety. And we got a time bonus. Oh, listen to that remix. Before we do anything, let's switch over to the color version and also see, is there variety in this game? Ooh, that looks splat-rific. Ooh, that does look pretty good. And the game? Oh, yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, I like how it looks on Game Boy Color. So I did look up if there's any variety, and the answer is yes with an asterisk. There are 5 worlds. I believe it's in 17 stages a world. At the end of each one is a boss. Oh, that's a wall. But the boss is very simple. It's basically just one of these levels, but with a large enemy, and you just have to run around shooting them. So there is a little bit of variety, just not a whole lot. But it does look better like this, and it does play totally fine, if a bit dull. I would bet these are the most common types of games you would find on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Just really baseline. Oh, stay away from me. Baseline, simple, but relatively enjoyable platformers. Just because they were an easy template to begin with. You could just come up with the gameplay first and then say like, oh, what do we want to have on there? How about a rat in sunglasses? How about a rat in a reservoir? Ooh. Game, I'm very clearly above, oh, whatever. I don't think this is a game you should be completely going out of your way to play. This isn't something you need to be stumbling over yourself to buy a copy and play it. It's, whoops, down the hole. So yeah, I wouldn't exactly call this a great game, but it's fine. It plays pretty well, it controls pretty well, it does everything pretty well. It's a little dull. There's certainly, I would have liked more variety, but I've played way worse. Don't think it qualifies as a hidden gem or anything. But yeah, it's fine. Although I will say, this screen does kind of make it all worth it. And Game Boy Roulette returns from hiatus with a resounding, it's okay. I talked earlier about how totally unknown Game Boy games can be hidden gems or could be forgotten for good reason, but to be honest, usually it's the third category. They're just kinda alright but forgettable, and that's exactly where Rats ended up. The graphics and music were both alright, if not memorable, and the gameplay pretty much hit all the checkmarks of being playable while not exactly excelling anywhere. It wasn't that the game was bad, it was far more playable than a lot of the games I've played on the Game Boy. You could run around and attack enemies just fine, the jumping was controllable, and the level layouts were intuitive enough to not feel like a slog. So if it did everything right, why is it that my thumb is pointing directly in the middle? I think it all comes back to something I've talked about so many times in this series: variety. Many Game Boy games tried to cram in a lot of levels. This one had over 50. But when you go through level after level of the exact same thing, it can turn even a solid gameplay loop into a forgettable one. That's what happened here. I tried jumping around using passwords, and future levels were all the exact same style, with no significant changes to enemies or even that much level layout difference. The bosses were the only variety, and looking those up, they weren't really that much to speak of either. Compare this game to something like the original Super Mario Land. This game definitely is more polished in both gameplay and presentation, but just the addition of a few fun shoot-'em-up levels makes Mario Land stand out way more. Well, I suppose it being a first-party Nintendo game is the real secret, but you know what I mean. This isn't a bad game by any means, and if you want a fun little arcadey platformer, you could do a heck of a lot worse. But it also does make sense why nobody really remembers this game. It's because there's just not a lot about it to be remembered. Apart from the title weirdness anyway, man, if they had leaned more into the Reservoir Dogs thing, this game could have been a masterpiece. And that's all for another episode of Game Boy Roulette. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to follow the series as we continue to dig through the Game Boy vault. I'm Brian J, and I'll see you next time.